headquarters of common sense.
Talk Radio.
Let's talk to former Detective Inspector. He's an MBE, Hamish Brown. Good evening, Hamish.
Good evening to you, Kevin.
Now, Kate McCann, obviously we have the utmost sympathy for the two doctors, McCann, but she said a lot of progress has been made. I mean, did anyone ever make much progress in trying to work out whatever happened to poor little Maddie?
Well, what you've got to remember is it's not just the Metropolitan Police involved here. The German and the Portuguese authorities seem to take the lead at the moment, and they may have a suspect. There's talk about that, isn't there? But the Met, perhaps they changed something when they went out there, and I just wondered if the authorities there took their eye off the ball. Indeed, if they ever had their eye on the ball in the first place, it was an utterly appalling start where the flat wasn't properly forensicated. And indeed, would you believe it, it was let out to someone for a couple of weeks before the forensic people went in. It was utterly ridiculous. So things started moving then. But we're this time on, and what we've got to remember is that this inquiry is a one-off. It will never happen again. It will never be allowed to happen again. But it just went to the public's heart. It was a one-off. From sport, there was Ronaldo involved. Yeah. From the church, the Pope was involved. Just everyone knew about it. And it was just one of those. But it always had a shelf life, and the shelf life is now.
So on June the 19th, as recently as that, the Operation Grange, as they called it, was given a further £300,000 funding, and only last summer, July 2021, it got a further £350,000. Now, again, I'm not trying to be unsympathetic towards the family, but as you just indicated, the reason this case got so much money over so many years is because it kept making the front pages. It was as simple as that, wasn't it?
Oh, I think so. And you're with the media, and as a retired police officer, crime consultant, I do quite a bit of media work and some other things as well. So I'm certainly not going to knock the media. But the media kept this going. Don't make any doubt about that. And because it made front pages, it was headline news, that sort of thing. But it was time to pull away, and it was always a yearly review. Now, we don't know what the police found, the Metropolitan Police found. I suspect there was criminal intelligence there, a lot of it, and you needed a centre point for it to be channeled into that information. And as long as there was information and they had some purpose, I think it was going to keep going. But it was always going to be under scrutiny. And bear in mind, it was only 4 officers involved. I believe it was 40 at one stage, which is an incredible number. Yeah. So they've had a good run. They've done their best. I'm very sorry for the McCanns, but this time was always going to come, and we must leave it for the German and Portuguese authorities.
The one thing about as you say, the Portuguese authorities did not cloak themselves in glory at the beginning, and the German authorities, I think, are somewhat naive about this case. They came plodding in only about a year or so ago, was it a bit longer, saying, "Oh, we've got the man." This guy called Christian B. He's doing time in a German jail for rape and paedophile offences, and he did used to live in the Praia del Luge area. So yes, I mean, all the indications are that this could be the right guy, but the British police have concluded that although you might have circumstantial reasons to suspect this guy, they feel they're never going to get any hard-edged evidence, and therefore they don't see the point of carrying on with this.
Well, I think you've summed it up very well. There isn't a hard evidence at the moment. They certainly will have information coming into them. There will be criminal intelligence, and I have no doubts they were liaising all the time with their counterparts around the world. And the difficulty there is, of course, you welcome the public and others coming in with information, but you can have information overload, and in fact, you just don't know where to start. Well, I'm sure they've whittled it down. I'm sure that they were going for a long time in the right direction. But when there isn't that hard evidence, the public are bound to ask, what are you doing? Why are you keeping this going? It's a dreadful shame. I supported it keep on going as long as there was a purpose and the information was there. But I think it's had its time.
Last point, really, Hamish. I mean, a lot of parents, a lot of people who've lost their loved ones when someone has gone missing will be saying, how come, they didn't set up a special department to look for my missing loved one? Why didn't they spend 15, 14 years or whatever it is, looking for my kid? There's something strange about the way that this case in particular has got all the special attention it's always received.
Oh, yes, you're absolutely right. We're going round in a circle, coming back to my earlier point. It was just one of those that went to the country, the world's heart, and people are running with it. It depends what else is in the news, of course, what's newsworthy, what people want to read about. And I remember in the first few weeks in 2007, 3rd of May, I just remember the date just like that. I was in the TV studio every day of the week for the first 2 weeks. It was quite intense. And I think the media thought this was going to be solved. But sadly, it hasn't been.
No, it certainly hasn't. But you're right, it was a case that immediately gripped the nation and became incredibly compelling to millions of people all over the world. It's been an extraordinary saga. Good to talk to you, Hamish. Thank you very much for your time. That's Hamish Brown, MBE, former detective inspector.
Good talk. Hot talk.
Bold talk. Talk radio.
Listen on your smart speaker.
Watch it live on your smart TV.
The world headquarters of common sense.
Talk Radio.